Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to build a real card payment system using Blnk Finance. So Blnk Finance is an open source ledger designed for developers. Basically, if you're building anything that has to do with moving money, it could be fintech, SaaS, wallets, billing, name it. So Blnk Finance would handle the complex math or logic involved in moving money, and you get to focus on building your product features. And if you've ever wondered how card payments works, for example, why your bank would say pending charges, you're going to get to know about that in this video. So stay tuned. So before we dive into the code, we need to understand how money flows in the system, and it's called a money movement map. So think of it like a blueprint for your payment system. And so um, first, we make use of something called World USD. And this is we fund the customer's card from this external source, and then when they buy something, we don't move the money immediately, we hold it, and this is called in-flight transaction. In simple terms, basically the pending transaction, and later the merchant decides to accept or reject the payment. If the merchant accepts, the money moves permanently. If the merchant rejects it, the odds is released. And that is exactly how real payments work. So it's authorization first and settlement later. And so let me explain key terms for anyone that is new to this. So when you hear the word ledger, it's basically like a folder that groups accounts together. So each customer gets their own ledger. And when we talk about identity, it's just about each customer and their information such as the name, email, and all that info. And when we talk about balance, balance is the actual account with the money. So you notice that it will track credit, debit, and the current balance. And by the time we go on, I'm going to show you how each of these responses look like, and you're going to understand this more. And when it comes to transaction basically involves it just moves money from one balance to another. So the key field there is Inflight. All right. So when Inflight is set to true, the money is held but not moved yet. Okay. So next up, let's get our Blnk running. So feel free to go to the documentation on Blnk Finance. It has all the walkthroughs for you to understand what I'm also going to be saying here. So one thing that is important for us to do is to get our Blnk running. Okay, so to do that, let's to do that, we're going to you can clone the repository and create your Blnk.json file, then launch Blnk and making use of Docker, and then we're all set to go. So let's just quickly do that. So I've already cloned the repository. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm going to just start it up. So you can always follow the documentation for more information. So my Docker is currently running, and then it's addressed to the port 5001. And here I'm just going to add my port. Sometimes it comes on automatically, sometimes it does not. Yes, I have it here. And I'm going to set it to public. You might not have to go through all this. I'm just doing this to kind of speed things up. Okay. Yeah. And to test this out, I'm going to open it in our browser, and I'm going to follow the link. And then so our server is running. So our server is up and running. So next, let's go to our Next.js app. So I've already set up the Next.js app. The link, I mean, is in the description, so feel free to check it out. So basically, we'll just create a basic Next.js app, and you're going to install the TypeScript SDK. And so you install it using this, and then you will go on to create a first ledger. This is what you're going to put in your .env file, your Blnk API key and your Blnk core URL. So technically, your Blnk API key can be empty when you're running locally without authentication. So I'm currently running mine locally without any authentication. And then you can go on to start initializing our SDK. So if you come to when you come to Blnk.ts, you see that this is what creates a connection to Blnk core. So it's making use of a single pattern so we don't repeat connections. In action.ts, that's where we have the main logic. And these are basically Next.js server actions. And they run on the server, to also keep our API key safe. So basically, creating an account has 4 steps. We're going to create a ledger, which is the container. We're creating the identity, we're creating the balance, and we're also going to fund it. So let's go through it. Here's the customer's name and the customer email. And for every step, we're going to make use of what was used in the last step. So when we create the ledger, we're getting the ledger's ID, and then which is the container. Then we're going to we're going to get the details for our customer, which involves creating the identity, which involves the first name, last name, all those other info. These are just important things that should be put when creating the customer. And creating that identity also comes with the identity ID that will also be used in when it comes to creating the balance. So when it comes to creating the balance, we're getting the ledger's ID, the identity ID, and the USD currency, and the digits too. And afterwards, we're going to fund the card. So when we fund the card, we're funding it with $10,000. And remember what I mentioned initially, that we're funding it using the world USD. That's where the money is being added from. And basically, when after the funding has been successful, the card account creation is complete, and you have your ledger's ID, your identity ID, the balance ID, and the initial balance, which was what we funded it with $10,000. So notice we're using the word USD as the source, and this prefix means the add prefix simply means that it's an internal balance. And when it comes to creating in-flight transactions, when an in-flight is set to true, it means that that transaction is pending, as I've mentioned before. And so what we're doing is to tell Blnk to hold the money, don't move it yet. All right. So the customer's available balance goes down, but the transaction is pending. Like sometimes you might, maybe if you pay for something like Google One and there's a transaction, you get messages like that. The settlement is simple. We'll just tell Blnk to commit or void the transaction. Like I said, this is based on when the the this is based on when the merchant accepts or rejects. Okay, so let's see a live demo and let's see this work. So this is where we're going to create a user. All right, so I can say Ella, right? And Ella example. Sure. I'm going to create the card account. And yes, then I can see this. All right. So remember that we have our server running. Okay. And to check the ledger, we can just go and do this. And then we'll see our we would see the ledger. And there you can see the ledger ID. This Alice card is an account that I created before, and this is the one that I just created. So you can see that the ledger contains the ledger ID, the name, and when I created the ledger. Apparently, I think I would like premium wireless headphones and the monitor. So I'm going to pay here. And so I can see that my order has been successfully placed. Let's take a look at our terminal here. So from here, you see that the amount and the purchase is here. And our Inflight is set to true, which means that it is pending. So the authorization was successful and it's a pending settlement. I can continue shopping. So real quick, let me go to the merchant view. From the merchant view, I can either accept or reject this purchase. And to check the balance, we can come to this and then let's do balance. And then here, well, we can see the balance. And so as a merchant, I would accept because this is what I want. I will accept it and then would see that settling transaction, and we have the transaction ID. The, the money has been sent permanently, and this is where it has been sent to. So I'm just going to copy this transaction ID and let's go back. Let's check our server that's running. And I'm going to put the transaction and the transaction ID. Okay. So let's go to the one that I did before, and let me pay. And so, like I said before, we're going to see this show in our terminal, the payment that I just initialized, and it says successful and it's a pending settlement. So I'm going to switch again. I'm going to reject, and then we'll be able to see in our terminal that the settling is void and the payment has been rejected successfully. And again, we can take the transaction ID and see the details of the transaction. So this is basically how card payment works in real life. So yep.
What do you do when your manager asks you to build a ledger in 1 week? We need it for this product we're launching next month. It's important. Where do you start? Meet Blnk, an open source ledger designed for developers like you who move money. To hit that deadline, log into Blnk and click on Deploy. Name your ledger deployment, select your type, and submit. Our system does the busy work behind the scenes. You get automated backups, point-in-time recovery, 99.9% uptime, and more out of the box. Blnk takes care of the infrastructure under the hood while you focus on building your product. Now, you can confidently implement your product and build your prototype just in time for your next demo.